Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of our weekly live show, Monday Mornings with Melissa. I'm so excited to chat with you guys today about pitches, about actual sales conversations in a live setting. This is something that I love. I love to pitch. I love to sell, and there's lots of reasons for that. So we're going to go through this today. You guys say hi if you're joining live. Let me know that you're here and you can see me, all of those good things. If you're watching the replay, let me know as well that you're here. Hi. Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. So today we're talking about sales pitches and how to make them more effective. Hey, Angela, love you. Oh my goodness. We're talking about sales pitches and how to make them more effective, how to make them more powerful, how to make them more simple, how to get more sales from them. And so I chose this topic because you guys asked for this topic. So I'm so excited to chat with you. Hi, Natosha. Hi, Carrie. Good morning. Good morning. So we're going to be going through a little bit of tactical stuff today and then a little bit of strategical strategies. Strategical, I think that's a word, about pitches. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about pitches following launches, but these really can apply to any pitch where you are doing a full pitch. And I want to make that point really clear because a pitch is different than a call to action. Hi. A pitch is very different than a call to action. Okay. So when you're doing a call to action, it could be to book a call. It could be to purchase something. It's just a call to action. A pitch, which we're going to be talking about today, is very different than that. It is very methodical. It is very purposeful. And a pitch is where you're going to be going through an actual offer so that in a way that your audience understands who this offer is for, who it's not for, what the offer can do for them, and they understand the value. Okay, they understand the value of the thing that you're inviting them to purchase, and that's very, very different. So when we go through this today, understand the difference between a pitch and a call to action. Hi, Christine. Good morning. Thank you guys for joining live. I love seeing you on. I love seeing you on here live with me so we can chat. Let me know if you have any questions. But this pitch, and I don't care, I don't know, some people get weirded out about the word pitch, so call it whatever you want, right? But the pitch, when you're launching something, right, when you're selling one-to-many or you're selling on live video, the pitch is a critical piece. I don't care what you call it. I don't care what you call it. And no, it does not have to be perfect. I'm going to talk about that. It does not have to be perfect at all. But if your pitch isn't well positioned, if it isn't very purposeful, if it doesn't have the right energy, it's going to fall flat. And that means it's going to affect the number of sales that you get. And that's what we don't want, right? So we want to put we want it to stack the cards in our favor so that we can hit all of our launch goals, all of our revenue goals. Hi, thanks for joining live. So remember this pitch, right? So you're giving this launch content, right? We're giving this some sort of content. I don't care if it's a one-time webinar style. I don't care if it's a full challenge. I do care because I love challenges. But this whole process, this journey that we're taking people on, including the pitch, like the pitch is like the crescendo of the whole thing. But this whole process is creating a path to the sale, And that's what I want you to think as we're going through today. Your pitch is just it's like the next step, the next piece of the journey. And it's a path that's connecting. It's connecting the content that you gave people for free. It's connecting that to the actual offer that you're going to be pitching. Okay, so it's a path. I want you to remember that. Hey, Cindy's in Funnel Boss launch number 2 this week. Awesome. Cindy's going to have an amazing launch with a powerful pitch because she is a Funnel Boss. Awesome. So I also do want to say, for those of you guys who've had very unsuccessful pitches, like pitching is a skill. Right? It is a skill, just like everything else that we do, going live, going through this process of clearly articulating the value of your offer. It is a skill. So I want you guys to realize that you don't need a script. You don't need I mean, we're going to talk about all of this, but it is a skill that gets better with time. So I don't want any of you guys to feel like if you had an unsuccessful pitch or unsuccessful launch that you can't do this, because it is a skill. I've had horrible pitches. I've had pitches that like I couldn't even watch again because they were so bad. So I want you to realize that now we have multiple six-figure launches all the time. I could pitch Funnel Boss Academy in my sleep. Okay, so it is a skill. Okay. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Yes, get it, Cindy, get it. We can't wait to hear. Okay, so I want you to remember that we have to pitch, right? We have to pitch and we have to do it in this very purposeful way, because people need this. They need to go through this psychological buying process. They have to go through this psychological buying process. Now, again, I'm talking we work with mostly service-based entrepreneurs. So these are coaches, consultants, online experts. Okay, so this isn't generally product-based. It can be, though. It can be. But no matter what, like if you're asking people to invest in themselves, they have to kind of go through this psychological buying process before they're going to say yes. And so we've been doing that. If you watch like if you join our challenges and you watch how I teach like the content, we're already doing that. We're already setting them up for the sale through our live challenges, or however you're launching. But now we gotta bridge that, right? And we have to take them through that next piece so that they understand what that next step is. And we have to hit both emotional and logical with our pitch. We have to. Most buying decisions, especially in the service-based world, are made mostly from the emotional side and then backed up by our logical side. And I tell this story all the time about how one time, I went out and I bought this horse, right? This high-ticket horse, and I didn't need another horse. I didn't really need this other horse, but I wanted this other horse, and I bought it completely on emotion. And then as I, am bringing this horse home, right? And then I'm trying to like back it up with logic. And I'm like, okay, here's how I'm going to justify the purchase of this horse, blah, 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 blah. And so we have to hit both sides, both emotional and logical. And I'm going to kind of break that down today. Absolutely. Christine, we'll be going through that. Okay. We're going to be going through that psychological journey. And it is, right? It is. And as you start to build out your ecosystem, you're going to start to see that some people need longer, like that process, that path. It takes some people longer to get there, and that's okay too. That's why we show up for our audience. We give tremendous value, and then we continually invite them to take that next step. Okay. So, all right, so we said a pitch is part of the path, right? And so the psychological buying process, that path that we're going to take our audience on to set them up for the sale, I always talk about this. We need to do that. We need to present that path quickly, especially when we're in launch. Okay. When we're in launch, yes, we're going to make sales outside of launch, all of that stuff. But in a launch, we have to provide that path very, very quickly because otherwise, the launch will be over. Right. And so, we teach the live challenge. So if it's like a 5-day challenge, you got to give everything that people need inside of 5 days. And then you have to create that next step, which is to come and work with you. And we want to do that quickly because we've only got the 5 days. And then we open cart, close cart, and we need to cover all of the bases. So I'm not going to go into each of these steps in detail today because we are going to focus in on the pitch. But number one, so that path is number one, two-way conversation. This is why I love launching live, because I can actually look and see what questions are being answered. I can see there's just so much power in two-way conversation. So number one is two-way conversation. Number two, when you're thinking again about the content that you put in front of the pitch, we want to think about content that inspires motion, content that gets people moving, content that lights a fire under people, right? So we want to make sure that our content is strategic as well. Right? I've got tons of content on content, so you can go and search for that. But now we want to talk about the pitch, and that's steps 3 and 4. So step number 1 is two-way conversation. Step number 2 is content that inspires motion. Step number 3, and here's where we're getting to the pitch, is creating the gap. Creating the gap. And step number 4 is, once you've created the gap, inviting those who are ready to step up. And I want you to think of a pitch as just an invitation, right? It's just an invitation. It would be like me inviting you to come over to a pool party, right? We're extending an invitation and people get to say, yes, I'm actually free on Saturday and I'd love to come and hang out, or no, right? And it's fine either way. So I want you to think of that. But we've got to, we're going to create the gap, and I'll go through what that looks like. And then we're going to invite the right people. And when you think of it that way, it's like now all of a sudden, it's okay if people say no because it's an invitation, right? It's okay if people aren't ready because it's an invitation. It's okay if not everyone buys because it's just an invitation, okay? And that kind of takes some of the pressure off of us. Now, what I want to say about make it effective pitches. Now, this is kind of the mindset piece of it, right? This is the energy piece of it. And we're going to talk a little bit more about energy here in just a little bit. But number one thing about effective pitches, number one thing is your conviction and your belief behind your offer, right? And, I've been talking a lot, to the funnel bosses. It's going to be the entire theme of our upcoming in-person live event, which you guys will get info on very soon, is leadership, right? And being the leader of a different conversation. And when it comes to pitching, this is like it carries through, right? So how are you showing your conviction and your leadership in that sales conversation? Okay. How are you showing how much you believe in your offer? This is a part of why I can pitch Funnel Boss in my sleep. And this is why I never get tired of it. I actually look forward to it. Yes, we love the revenue. Yes, of course, that's great to make sales. But I also love pitching Funnel Boss Academy because my conviction in it is so strong. Like I know how much we change lives. I know how people transform while they're inside Funnel Boss Academy. I know how powerful it is. I know how much support is there. When you're thinking about effective pitches, I want you to, number one, really get behind the thing that you're selling. Like really get behind it. Really believe like down to the depths of your heart that people are better off inside your paid program than not, right? If they have the problem that you solve and they're serious about solving it, then they are better off inside your paid offer than not. And just by having that energy and having that that come through in your pitch and throughout your pitch, then it's immediately going to be 100 times more effective, 100 times at least more effective. You can screw up the structure. You can miss a few things. I have had pitches in the past that I completely missed several features of Funnel Boss. I don't know what happened. I don't know. But it didn't matter at the end of the day because the conviction was still there. People were so excited about the possibility of their future, right? So number one thing when it comes to effective pitches is your conviction and the energy and the excitement that's coming from you. Like that's you showing your leadership, right? And showing people that you've walked them this far, and like, let's continue to walk, and actually let's start running. Okay, let's start running towards that destination. Oh, thank you so much, Terry, for taking notes. Okay, why does it matter that your conviction and your energy are behind your offer? Number one, and again, we're talking about service-based businesses typically, but this, again, I think it carries over to anything, right? When you ask people to actually pull out their credit card and invest in themselves, to, if you're a life coach, to invest in themselves to better their life, marriage coach, if you want, they're investing in themselves and their marriage through your offer, right? When you ask people to invest in themselves, especially a higher ticket investment, they are going to be unsure. They are going to be uncertain. Even if you follow along with what I do, we do live challenges. So even if all week long they have been with you and you've been pouring your heart and soul into them and they're eating it up and just loving every piece of it, and they love you and your message and your mission and they love all of it, even if that's the case, when you ask someone to invest in themselves, they are going to be uncertain because that is human nature. That is human nature, right? So if I was to come and ask you for 5, 10, 20K right now, like even if you were ready to take that next step and you're like, this is the vehicle that I need to be in, you're still going to be uncertain. Your brain's going to start doing all the things that brains do. So with our pitch, what we need to do is replace that uncertainty with certainty. Your audience is looking to you as the leader to be certain because they are uncertain, right? They want to be certain, but they're uncertain. So they're looking to you for certainty. They are looking to you to replace all of that nervousness that they're feeling, that weird feeling that you get in your stomach. They're looking to you through your pitch to replace that nervousness with excitement, right? We want to overcome those objections that come up and all of that mental gymnastics that people have to go through. We want to replace that with this feeling of, oh my gosh, where's my credit card? Where's the link? I have to do this now. And that's where your conviction and your energy is gonna come in. Now I want you to think about a high ticket investment that you've made in yourself. If you've hired a coach in the past, or maybe you purchased a service or whatever, right? Doesn't matter. Just get one in your head, right? And I want you to think of what ultimately you were doing when you said yes. Okay. For me, I'm always making investments in myself, my business. But I just did another one, right? I just brought on a service into my business, and it was scary, right? It was a big commitment. But what I was saying to myself when I said yes is I was saying, I'm worth it. My business is worth it. My team is worth it, right? So when people are buying and when they're saying yes to themselves, they're saying to themselves, I am worth it, right? I am worth it. That's what they're saying. And that feeling that comes with that, the feeling of that comes with I am worth it, when they truly can believe that they are worth it, like that's the feeling that we want to give people. We want to give them the certainty to say yes to themselves, because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing, right? And we're doing that with our pitch. So that's what we want to do. We want to give it to them, right? So let's give them that feeling, that certainty, that conviction. Let's let them borrow some of our conviction and our certainty if they don't have it just yet, right? Let them borrow some of ours. Let them borrow some of our beliefs and how much we believe in them. Let's let them borrow some of that while they make this decision. Okay. I know. It's kind of like that comes from within, right? That's why I always tell the funnel bosses, pitch from your heart. You can't go wrong when you pitch from your heart. You can't. Yes, we've nailed down kind of like a very methodical process that works better and all that stuff. But if you're going to do one thing, if all you do is remember one thing, just pitch from your heart. Like just pitch from your heart. Now, let's get into some of the tactical stuff. Yes, I love it. It's so true. They're going to be uncertain. All right. This is actually water, but this cup turns. Have you guys ever had a cup that turns colors? My kids love it. All right, so let's get into some of the tactical stuff. So number one, yes, you're going to be your conviction, your energy. That's got to be there. It doesn't matter. None of the tactical stuff will matter if your energy and your heart isn't in it. Your conviction, your belief, none of this rest of this stuff is going to matter. And that's why I had to say that one first, even though it's a little less tactical. But as we get into the tactical, what we're doing with our pitch, right, is we are saying some words. We are saying some words that allow our audience to understand the value of the thing that we're asking them to purchase, right? And we have to be able to clearly articulate that value, because people, it's that logical piece coming in. So yes, emotional is huge, but people buy off of perceived value. And so we have to build that up, because that's the logical piece of the brain, right? People like to get a good deal. People like to feel like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's worth so much more than what I'm buying. So I want you to think about what their thoughts are, right? Around what this offer is worth to them right now. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, as we get into the tactical pieces of the pitch, is oftentimes, and I've watched hundreds and hundreds of pitches, right? I've watched hundreds and hundreds of pitches. And, this is what we do inside Funnel Boss Academy. We help people with their pitches. So we see it all the time. And I've watched other people's, and there's often this huge disconnect. Between the way that we pitch, so the actual words that we're saying, and how the pitch is received on the other side. There's often a huge disconnect, and we struggle so much with how to clearly articulate the value of what we do. Like, we are good at what we do. We know that we can change lives, but for some reason we bumble around and we mix all these words up, and we can't clearly articulate the value of what we do. And part of that is because, marketing and selling is a completely different skill set most of the time from the thing that you're really good at, right? So if you're a life coach or you're, a brand consultant or whatever, right? It's a very different skill, the thing that you're really good at, than marketing and selling. And I get that. I completely understand that. However, it is our job to get really good at talking about the thing that we do in a way that our audience understands the value behind it. And if your pitch, we see this happen all the time. Like, people are so good at what they do, but they don't make enough sales. They struggle with the sales part of it because they can't talk about it, right? And in the pitch, when they give their pitch, it's not received. Like, there's a disconnect there, and then nobody buys it, right? So it really doesn't matter how good you are at what you do or how amazing your offer is if you can't talk about it in a way that your audience understands it and they get it. Angela, we're calling you out. You're so funny. So the purpose of the pitch, obviously, is to make sales, right? Obviously. But the purpose of the pitch is that your audience understands the gap between where they are and where you can take them, right? That's the real purpose of the pitch. It creates this bridge from here you are now, you still have the problem, right? You have the problem that I can help you solve, but here you are with the problem at point A. Here's where I can take you. And this is really important when you're doing a launch, especially a live challenge, because you do actually move the needle for them. You do actually pour your heart and soul into them for free. You actually do get them a result, like you get them stuff in that for free. Now you have to create a gap between where they are and where you can take them. And that's the purpose of the pitch. And that's why I said it has to be very intentional and it has to be very purposeful. Okay. I see entrepreneurs, and they'll go, actually, I was just talking to a funnel boss, he's actually in my mastermind, about their pitch, because they had 5 days of content, 5 days of content, every day, talked for an hour. People were loving it. And the pitch was like 15 minutes, right? We tend to rush through our pitch. We try to get that piece out of the way because we don't enjoy selling or whatever. And we didn't do an effective job of creating that gap and then bridging the gap, right? Yes? Let me know if you guys have questions. Okay, so I want you to think of your pitch as a bridge that is connecting where they are and where they want to ultimately go. And we already said, as we do this, as we create this bridge, the energy piece is really, really important. The energy that shows that you actually care about taking them from point A to point B, the energy that you love what you do and you're so good at it and you love getting people results, all of that stuff, your energy has to be behind it. That's why I love pitching live, because the energy is just there, right? But we got to go through this methodical process of, here's the content that I gave you, right? And if you're a funnel boss, this is what we do. We help you set them up for the sale even before you get to the pitch, right? But now we've done this. We've done the content of our launch. Now we've got to kind of start this transition. And the first piece of that is creating the gap, intentionally creating the gap. What does that mean? You have to show people what is missing. You have to show people what else is required, right? You're the expert. You know exactly what's required in order to get people that ultimate transformation that they need and want, right? You know exactly. That's what the offer is. That's what the offer is. You can't change people's lives for free, but they don't know that, right? We're always telling the funnel bosses, people don't know what they don't know. People don't know what they don't know. So we always have to meet our audience where they are, and we have to educate them on what they don't know. So in your pitch, I want you to actually tell them what they don't know. Here's where you will fail. Here's where we see people fail all the time. Here's what's going to happen if you try to DIY this, right? Here's what else you need in order to get this result. I barely scratched the surface this week on XYZ, right? Tell them, actually be blunt and tell people, because that is your job, right? If you let people walk away from a launch thinking that they have everything that they need, then shame on you, because you know that they don't, right? And so you have to methodically go through and create this gap so that people are like, oh, yeah, I can totally understand that. Even though we've done ABC all week long, and I'm super excited about it, I can see that, well, point A won't work if we don't have XYZ, right? You have to create that, because again, your audience doesn't know what they don't. People don't know what they don't know. People don't know what they don't know, and we have to educate them, right? So first we have to create the gap, and then we have to bridge the gap. And that's where we go into what your offer is, what it does, what it can do for them, right? So number one is creating the gap. Number two is bridging the gap. Number three is showing the return on investment. Showing the return on investment. And no, you do not have to, it does not have to be money, right? Yeah, inside Funnel Boss Academy, we can say that, right? Because we help people make a lot of money. So we can say, okay, well, here's the investment, but look at the return that's coming. Like, we'll have it is building a multiple 6-7 figure business worth the investment. Yes, we can do that with what I do, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have funnel bosses killing it in all different areas, right? Because the return on investment is in the eye of the beholder. Right? The return on investment is in the eye of the beholder. So what is it worth if you can save my marriage? What is it worth if you can help me lose 50 pounds? Like, what is the return on investment? And if you can't wrap your head around the return on investment for your particular thing that you do and the transformation that you provide, then they certainly are not going to be able to wrap their head around it. So I want you to really make sure that you have your head wrapped around the return on investment. What is it worth? What is it worth to get people that ultimate transformation? And then the second piece of that, so the ROI is one piece, and then the second piece of that is what's at stake. What's at stake if they don't change, if they don't make a change? What's at stake? What's at stake if you continue to try to build your business? You're trying to hit those 6-figure launches, right? And you're trying to do it on your own. What's at stake, right? So this is where, again, people don't know what they don't know. So people might, especially if you're in a launch where you're giving a lot of content for free, they might think that they can go do it, right? And so we have to let them know, here's what's going to happen. Here's what it's going to cost you. Here's what's going to cost you to go do XYZ on your own. So ROI is like twofold, right? ROI is like twofold. Oh, Angela. Angela says she's a completely different person since becoming a funnel boss. Hey, Elaine, another funnel boss in the house. I love you guys. Yeah, we can't help them. Okay, yeah, I love that, Angela. We can't. You have to get great at selling, because if you can't sell, if you can't get people to say yes to themselves and make that investment and get skin in the game, you can't change their life, right? You can't. So again, create the gap, bridge the gap. Number 3 was show the return on investment and what's at stake, right? What's at stake. And then number 4 is creating pressure, right? Creating pressure. And I want to talk about this one for just a couple minutes, because this is where people start to feel salesy, like the used car salesman. And I want to kind of bust that myth a little bit. And here's what I'll say. I'm going to talk, this one's twofold as well, right? So you've got the tactical urgency, the tactical pressure. So scarcity, limited number of spots, prices going up, like blah, 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 blah. And then there's the second piece, which is creating pressure through creating opportunity. And I'll talk a little bit about both of those. But what I'm going to say is that you have to create pressure, because people don't buy unless you give them a reason to buy. People do not buy, even if they really want it. People don't buy if you don't create the pressure to get up, right? To do something about it now. They can always put it off. That's human nature. People, change. No matter how painful it is to be there with the problem, it's still their comfort zone. And so we have to create pressure sometimes to get people to move. Now, yes, I think tactical urgency is important. I think I'm not going to lie to you. Tactical urgency is important. So I want you to think about, as you're creating your pitch, what kind of tactical urgency can you put in there? That's always it gets me up off the couch, right? Like if I know that there's only a few spots, or if I know the price is going to go up, or if I know there's some bonuses, it gets me off the couch, like, and pull out my credit card, right? But on the flip side, and this one's even more important, especially when it comes to like getting your ideal clients, I want you to think about creating pressure from a place of service, right? From a place of service, creating this urgency to do something now. To, if someone's in your launch, okay, if someone's in your launch, they already said, they raised their hand and they said, yes, I have this problem and I want to do something about it. I'm tired of living here with this problem. I'm going to spend, if you follow what I teach, I'm going to spend 5 days with you. I'm going to spend 5 days and give you my most precious resource, which is my time. And then they're there and they're watching your pitch. That means they made it all the way. If people watch your pitch, that means that they want what you have, okay? We always tell the funnel bosses, the no's always come out first. Let them go. Let them go. Everyone who is still there with you after your pitch is someone who is saying, yes, I want to change. Yes, I am so done struggling with where I'm struggling, okay? Those are your people. We always tell funnel bosses, everyone who's there with you after pitch, or all the way through your pitch and after pitch, those are the people. And so they're still scared. They're still nervous because we talked about that already, but they're there because they want to change. And so I want you to think about how to create some urgency through opportunity, right? To actually get them excited about doing something about the change that they want, right? So this is where, what do I mean by that? Urgency through opportunity. What do I mean? This is where you paint them the picture and you let them know that the sooner they get started, the sooner they get to change, the sooner that their life can transform, the sooner that they get the thing that they raised their hand and said that they wanted, right? This is, where you let them know that what their life could look like 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, and that change starts today. Right. So this is where you kind of, I'll give you some tactical ways to do this, right? This is where you would say, well, first of all, you literally can say in 3 months, you could have a business that is a 6-figure run rate, 7-figure run rate. We have our funnel bosses all the time. First launch, there are 6 or 7-figure run rate. This is where you could say, 6 months from now, you could actually be to the point where you're hiring a team, right? So I want you to kind of future pace them again. Let them know where they could be when they get the support that they want. Okay, that's tactically how you do it. Next, you want to lay out what that journey is going to look like for them. So this is going to hit both the emotional and the logical piece of the brain, right? And so you're going to lay it out. When you come inside Funnel Boss Academy, first thing we're going to do is work through your offer, make sure that your offer is set for scale. Second thing we're going to do is get your launch. We want you launched in the first, 6 to 8 weeks. We want everyone launched in 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, so now the wheels are turning and people are like, okay, 6 to 8 weeks from now, I could be starting to scale up my revenue. 6 to 8 weeks from now, I could have my first launch under my belt and then start to scale it up, right? And we start to lay out this journey so that they can see it. They can visualize that, okay, in 8 weeks, I'm going to be done with my first launch. If I start now, 8 weeks from now, I could be there, right? Instead of, I'll wait for Melissa's next challenge. I'll just wait. I'll put it off one more time, right? And we can say, but wait, our next challenge isn't for another 8 weeks. And by the next time we open cards, you could already have a 7-figure run rate, right? And so it's creating this urgency through opportunity. If they are there watching your pitch, that means they want what you have. Okay, so now it's just our job to give them what they need to say yes to themselves. Does that make sense? Let me know if you guys have any question. Yes, and this feels a lot better, right? Because why do people get stuck? It's because, well, there's a lot of different reasons, right? But it's in here. People get stuck because it's in here. It's not necessarily that they don't know what to do. It's that they get stuck in here. And so if we're not unlocking things in here, then they're never going to take that next step, right? And it's our job to help them create that next step. Now, do we get mad if they say no? Of course not. Like, this is just an invitation. But we got to create some of that pressure. We got to create it, or people are going to put it off, right? People are going to put it off, and they'll say, "Oh, you know," all the stories start coming, right? And they'll say, "Well, actually, you know, I've got a big dinner party next month, so I don't really want to start my weight loss journey today. I'll kind of wait till after that," right? But if you let them know, hey, by the time you get like 6 weeks from now, you could be blah, 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 then it creates some of that urgency. So you want to create pressure both tactically and by inspiring them to do something about the problem that they have, right? Both of those things, super, super important. People do not buy unless you give them a reason to buy. And you're going to do this through your pitch. And then I want you to think about your pitch. Yes, you're going to do a full out pitch on like very methodically stepping through all of this stuff. And then you're going to repeat the pitch, and you're going to repeat the pitch, and your pitch is going to be in social media posts, and it's going to be in live videos, and it's going to be in your emails, bits and pieces of it, right? Bits and pieces of it. But you've got to go through this very methodical pitch at least one time, and then repeat different pieces of it. Why is that? Because people need to hear over and over again, right? People, as soon as they walk away from your live video, what happens? All the things start happening in their head again, and then they push it off, right? So we have to do this. We have to do this. Is it salesy? Is it slimy? No, it's not. No, it's not. Because what we go back to the very first thing that I said, which is your conviction, your belief. If you truly believe that this person is better off inside your paid offer than not, then it is your job, it is your duty to give them the steps that they need to take in order to go through that psychological buying process. Okay, that is your job. If you are not doing that, then maybe we need to come back to your belief system, right? Maybe we need to come back to your belief system about what the thing that you're offering, right? Because if you truly believe, right, I truly believe that Funnel Boss Academy has the power to change your life, then if I truly believe that, which I do, it means I need to shout it from the rooftops, because your audience doesn't know what they don't know, right? They don't know. And sometimes what happens when we don't know something, we have to hear it multiple times, okay? Awesome. All right, you guys. So again, where'd my notes go? I got off on a little tangent there. So, but remember, the purpose of our pitch is to help your people understand the value of your offer. You have to be able to clearly articulate the value of your offer. You have to be able to clearly first create the gap. Okay, so first create the gap between where they are and where they want to go. Then bridge the gap with your offer, showing them very clearly that this is the vehicle that they need to be in, right? Showing the return on investment, no matter what that is, right? You could change their life. You're changing the trajectory of their life, their business, their body, their marriage, whatever, showing what is that return on that investment. What's at stake? What's at stake if they do not say yes to themselves? Like, what is going to happen? Because you know what they don't know. You know what is going to happen for people when they try to DIY it, or if they're doing it wrong or whatever. And then finally, it's creating pressure, both tactically and through creating opportunity, the opportunity to change, which is exactly what human beings want, right? All we want is the opportunity to change, to change our story, to change our life, to change our body, to change our whatever, right? All humans want is the opportunity to change. So we're going to create some pressure to change, for them to change their life, right? Okay, so, and then finally, you want to repeat pieces of your pitch over and over and over again. I want you to think about shouting it from the rooftops. After you pitch, once you go into open cart, everything ties back to your offer. Everything ties back to the emotional and the logical piece, where they could be, why they need to go there, what's the value, blah, 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 blah. You do this through story, you do this through just bluntly telling them, right? And you do this through your conviction, your energy, your belief system, all of those things. So anyways, I know we went just a little bit over, so thanks you guys for hanging with me, but I hope this was helpful. I want you to go back and look at your pitch and the way that you are communicating, having that sales conversation, and I want you to think about what is missing. Hey, Sandy. Oh, awesome. Funnel Boss in the house. What is missing? Is it your conviction? Is it your energy? Is it that you didn't create the gap? Is it that you didn't meet them where they are, right? So that they understand where they need to go? Is it that you're not laying out the path? Is it that you didn't show the ROI of the investment? Is it that you didn't repeat it enough? Is it that you didn't future pace them and let them know what's at stake? Is it that you didn't create any pressure, right? I want you to think about where you can go back in, diagnose the disconnect. This is what we do with our funnel bosses: diagnose the disconnect and then reconnect it, right? Diagnose where that disconnect is and then reconnect it. And just again, this is a skill. This is a skill. So while you always want to be improving your pitches, I want you to remember that the number one thing when it comes to effective and powerful pitches is that you're pitching from your heart, and you're pitching from a place of, I truly believe that you're better off inside my program than not. And then you can work on all the tactical stuff and just improve, and you will get better, right? You will go better. That's why we have the funnel bosses launching 6 to 8 times a year, because by the time you pitch a 6th time, you're going to have it down. You're going to be able to, I don't even have to look at my notes anymore. Like I don't have to think about it. It's like muscle memory. It's like second nature. And that's why we want you to practice it, because it is a skill. It is a skill. Awesome. All right, you guys, I love you so much, and we will talk to you soon.